together. DreadOut and DreadOut Keepers of the Dark form an interesting Fatal Frame clone that explores the mythology of Indonesia. Separately, DreadOut and Keepers of the Dark are complete clusterfucks that make no sense to anyone who doesn't speak the guttural gobbledygook with an emphasis on the gook that passes for a language in whatever godless armpit of the world these games were developed in. DreadOut begins strongly enough in a stunning facsimile of my secret basement, complete with a disoriented oriental schoolgirl who is too afraid to speak, is covered at all times in a gossamer glaze of gelatinous gonad grease, and whose raw booty hole probably resembles a volcano diorama made of craisins due to her constant denim skirt wedgie. This roly-poly katoe with an egg rolly up her butthole leads the player into what seems at first will be a tense and atmospheric ordeal through an eerie ghost town. Instead, you get the sort of cheap Asian thrills that usually require you to lay face up on a massage table with a towel on your lap. And to be perfectly honest, if I wanted to photograph a demonic pig man running around a grade school naked on all fours, I'd have accepted that job as Bill Clinton's personal assistant. If I wanted to play as a homely Asian woman who is followed by swarms of flies wherever she goes, I would not have traded in my copy of the Yoko Ono's Vagina Simulator, and if I wanted to run for my life from an effeminate Indonesian schoolboy, I'd have just grabbed the last ticket for a helicopter out of that hellhole, or walked down a road with an estrogen tablet in my back pocket. The primary problems with DreadOut are the lousy camera that can't keep up with the player and sticks to walls, the obtuse puzzles that require an in-depth understanding of Indonesian folklore, as well as the occasional pixel hunt, and the complete lack of strategy or feedback in the combat. But it's not all bad. In its own way, DreadOut is the scariest thing to come out of Indonesia since those horrific salad bowl tit implants you used to see everywhere back in the 90s. DreadOut is a competent game for the couple of hours that it lasts, but you won't understand what the fuck is going on most of the time, and the content is so slim it feels like you're playing just one half of a better game. And that is where DreadOut, Keepers of the Dark, comes into play. Keepers is a mission pack that takes place during the first game, just before the final boss, which adds new enemies to areas the player previously explored in DreadOut, and probably should have been patched into the first game instead of being sold separately. As a result, while DreadOut has a story but little combat, Keepers is all combat, and no story save for some cryptic cutscenes that are mostly untranslated. New enemies introduced in this spin-off include Ronnie James D-Bag, this creepy little puppet that dabbed me to death, a woman with a mouth nearly big enough to suck my penis, Chris Chan, a thought who is almost as rock hard around all these stone-cold teat Austins as I am, a literal pinup girl, a one-eyed monster who spews white stuff all over the fucking place when an Asian girl touches him, and a little bitch who I don't mind cheats at hide-and-go-seek, because thanks to her, there's finally a game that allows me to cash in on my ability to photograph girls taking a poop. Somehow, Keepers of the Dark crams in all the combat that's missing from DreadOut, but without any refinements to the formula. There's still no Fatal Frame-like reward for taking a photograph at the last possible second. There's still no way to tell how much damage you're doing to an enemy. The flash cannot be used to stun enemies, and you can't even tweak their nipples. In a way, it's fitting that these games are about the creation of abominations, because that is exactly what the developers have done. Don't bother playing these games unless you can get them both for less than $5. Then, play them back to back, then probably never again.